Chris has picked 6 upsets so far in 14 games. He may be flying too close to the sun on wings of marijuana.
I'd forgotten all about that. And I love that the music is back. Cue the horn section. We're in our usual spot where we will be sitting. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned and PFTPM, the Joint Mega Picks podcast. We did it last week from Philadelphia. Snap your fingers and a week goes by, and here we are on to week 2. Week 2 is upon us. It begins Thursday night. And you know, we're very different when it comes to our good days. I tend to keep my mouth shut when things are going well. You tend to not.
Right.
So I've deliberately waited. I didn't want to mention it, didn't mention it in the viewing room, didn't mention on Monday where things stood. You had a sense that things weren't going well.
Right.
As it turns out, last week, we disagreed on not 1, not 2, not 5, not 6, but 7 games straight up. I don't think we've ever disagreed on 7.
Yeah.
And
I paid for
of those 7 games, pay no attention to the bottom line. Of those 7 games, I went 7-0.
I'm embarrassed.
That's a 7-0. I have props to commemorate the massive sweep.
Wow, look at that sweep. That's a nice broom.
The massive, am I going the wrong way? Oh, get him out of here. Bye, Chris.
Funny.
Bye, Chris. Go, Chris. Smoke your dope. All right.
I'm out of here.
Anyway, bring him back. There he is. Okay, I went the wrong way. I still got the whole, because the monitor is, I have to go this way to go that way.
Good enough.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
I have finally figured out that the countdown clock's over there if and when we have one. Okay.
I'm embarrassed. There's no doubt about it. I really am. I take pride, like I've always told you, straight up. I don't really care about all the games versus the spread. I don't even care. I really don't. I care about the 3 I pick, the best bets. I do. I put thought into that. The straight up part of it, to go 6-10, I truly am embarrassed. I do this to myself, I feel like, every year. I dig myself in a hole early on. I take a few chances. I kind of maybe fall in love with the team a little more than I should just because I like them and I see, down the road a good future, but that doesn't mean it happens to week 1. So, yeah, I got to bounce back. I put some time in last night. I will be doubly, triply embarrassed if I have shit the bed like I did last week again this week.
I mean, that's the problem. You overthink it.
Last week I didn't think about it enough. I think no. Last week I didn't. Last week I didn't think about it enough. A little bit. I think I went a little too with just my heart. I was a little busy. I didn't have a time where I was into my routine of like what I do during the season. Wednesday night, I sit there on the couch with the wife. I get the computer out. I pick the games. I think about them. I write a few notes to myself about it. I feel better about this one. We'll see where we go.
Well, as it relates to against the spread, I didn't do well, 9-7, but I'm glad to be above 500.
Sure.
You're in clear Costanza, do the opposite territory against the spread at 3-13.
Yeah, don't listen to me total
versus spread. I am in Costanza, do the opposite. Hey, I'm my best bets were 0-3. How do you go 13-3 straight up and 0-3 with your best bets?
Right.
That's not good.
Well,
either.
the people know when they want to win money, they listen
to
my best bets. That's what they do. They do know that.
Right. Well, you were 1-2. So.
Yep. Yep.
It's back. It's back again. Those of you who wondered last week, including me, what happened to the DraftKings Pick'em Pool, it's back. The Florio and Sims DraftKings Pick'em Pool, free $1,000 every week this season. You can play along. DraftKings is set up, once again, the free $1,000 Florio and Sims Pick'em Pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every week. This is your
Download the DraftKings app, click on the Pools tab, and enter the Florio and Sims free $1,000 Pick'em Pool to make your picks.
And it changed this year. There are no Thursday night games in the pool, so you have until Sunday's games
That's good.
to get your picks in. Okay, so the Thursday night games count here. And, man, right out of the gates, the first short week game of the year. Holy crap. Commanders going to Green Bay. What a test. I had Brian Mitchell on PFT Live this morning, and he was making a compelling case for the Commanders to go in there and win. got me to rethink my position because,
Sure.
last night pulled up all the games, score this, score this, score this, first instinct all the way through. And I think that the first instinct, after what we saw the Packers do to the Lions in week 1 with Micah Parsons entering the fray with Jordan Love healthy and looking good.
Right.
Hard to believe the Packers won't hold serve against the Commanders. What do you think about that one?
Well, I feel you. I lean Packers. I do. But, I mean, we know Washington's a good football team. Jaden Daniels poses problems for teams, period. I don't care how good you are on the defensive side of the ball. Right? I'm not a believer in that the Washington base running game is this, unbelievable, overpowering element of their team. To me, it's about Jaden Daniels' ability to keep the ball off the edge, and teams always worrying about that makes their running game so good. Also the other factor that you just always see with Jaden Daniels when you break him down is how many plays last week where, man, the Giants defense kind of won the play. It was a good call. They covered everybody downfield. And then he scrambles and gets 4 or 5 yards or gets out of the pocket and still gets a 6 or 8 yard completion. That's where Jaden Daniels is amazing. He just doesn't miss much. Now, Jordan Love did look really good like you talked about. I think one of the big matchups to me in the football game is can the Commanders' DBs, if they can man up these Packers wide receivers, right, where I still think, hey, it was a good week last week, definitely. But this is a good defensive secondary in Washington. We know they got some corners here that can shut you down and play on an island. Saying we're still Marshawn Lattimore, right? But if Green Bay shows the ability to get them open, because I got to think early on in the game, the Commanders are going to be like, hey, we're worried about stopping this Packers O-line, stopping this run game, and prove to us you can beat us in the pass game. I would think that's the approach they're going to take early on, right? I think I'm going to believe in Green Bay in that, and I'm going to believe in Jeff Hafley with Micah Parsons and a pretty athletic front seven that I think will slow down the extending of plays by Jaden Daniels. I'm going to go 28-24 Packers win it at home.
And I neglected to mention, so I will now, that the Green Bay Packers are favored by 3.5 points with an over-under of 48.5. So Chris has the Packers winning with the slight cover. It's always hard to project what happens week 1 into week 2.
Right.
Because we don't know how good or bad the Giants will be. We don't know how good or bad the Lions will be. So what do you really glean from week 1 victories by the Commanders and the Packers? So, look, and Brian did a very good job of making me think that the Commanders have a chance to go in and win this game.
Sure.
And we saw the Commanders go on the road to Detroit and dismantle the Lions in the playoffs. But something feels different about this Packers team. With Micah Parsons, with Jordan Love, with that boost that the entire organization got via the faith that the front office showed in the roster by 2 weeks ago today, and I can't believe it's only been 2 weeks that Micah Parsons was traded to the Green Bay Packers. To me, this is a buzzsaw for any team. This is not about the Commanders. Anyone going in there on this Thursday night, second home game, just 4 days apart. They only have 6 home games after this. They are going to relish this moment. They're going to build on their momentum. I'm going 27-17. So I've got it a little wider. We both have the Packers covering. If the Commanders should cover the spread, so be it. I'll be stunned if they go in and win this one. And if they go in and win this one, then all of a sudden you got to put the Commanders right on par with the Eagles as the favorites in the NFC.
Well, they're certainly up there. I mean, no question. And I think this matchup will tell us a little bit. I think Green Bay is up there with them. I know I didn't pick Green Bay last week, but you know from everything I've told you over the last 6 weeks, I love Green Bay's team. I only didn't pick them last week because I was scared Jordan Love hadn't practiced, and he would look like the Jordan Love we saw that didn't practice last year. But they got everything, so we'll see how it plays out, Mike. But, yeah, you're right. There's something about Green Bay. They seem like they're a team on a mission a little bit, and I feel what you're feeling there totally.
I'd love for that to be wrong. I'd love for the Vikings to emerge as the team of density, as George McFly would say, in 2025. But it sure feels like the Packers have that special shine, especially after getting Micah Parsons very late in the day. All right, early in the day on Sunday, Browns go to Baltimore. The Ravens, formerly known as the Browns, commemorating 30 years in Maryland, with the Browns coming to town. 11.5 points is the spread. Denzel Ward, Jerry Jeudy think it's disrespectful. I don't know if it's I don't know if 11.5 is enough because the Ravens come home salty. And remember, we talked about this Monday. Last year, after they lost on the road in a playoff rematch, a close game down to the wire, they were sleepwalking the following week for the home opener, and they lost to a Raiders team that otherwise went 3-13. I think they'll be on guard for this one. And I think, I'll let you go, but I think we're going to see a different Ravens team in week 2 this year than we saw last year when they stepped on a rake against the Raiders.
I would think so. I mean, again, this is another team that I felt like was on a mission, right? I mean, like we talked about the other day, the Ravens through 3 quarters were absolutely phenomenal. There was no doubt who the better team was. I mean, you and I both, I think, agreed that it was kind of late in the second quarter and Buffalo was already in desperation mode. Third quarter was definitely desperation mode. Like, oh my gosh, this is the game right here. If they don't make this 4th down, this is the game right here. If they don't get there was a lot of that. So Baltimore's still a really impressive football team. Again, I know Buffalo won that game, but I'm more concerned about Buffalo going forward than I am Baltimore. All right, I think Baltimore's problems are fixable. I look at Cleveland, I think what I worry about more than anything here is one, okay, a little bit like the last game, Cleveland, can they man up these receivers? If they can, that gives them a fighting chance as far as manning up the Baltimore receivers, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you I believe totally in the Cleveland run defense and that they have enough big people here. I know Cincinnati's stats weren't good running the ball last week, but Cincinnati's stats weren't good in anything there. And they're a lot simpler to defend compared to Baltimore and all the things they can bring at you with their scheme and their personnel. Baltimore can line up and just go, we're going to overpower you. We're going to run right at you. You know it. And we're going to run you over. That changes the game. It changes how people approach them. Right, so I that's the one aspect I look at. If Cleveland shows they can cover these guys on the outside and just put all these people in the box, and yeah, they might have moments of slowing down that Ravens offense. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Ravens will be chippy. They'll be ready to go. They're going to be pissed off about what they saw. And on the defensive side of the ball, again, I think Ravens, you don't have Josh Allen. We know where Joe Flacco is going to be. All right, the Ravens are a very good defense still, and I just don't know if I believe that Cleveland's got enough weapons on offense to keep up here. All right, I'm threading the needle. This is what I do. I pick the games, and then I go and look at the spreads after. I make the score, and then I go, where am I at in this and all this? I picked 31-20 Ravens. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with it, even though it's dicey, and I feel like I know what you're going to do. You're going to pick them to blow them out. But 31-20 Ravens.
Well, here's what happened. I knew last night what the spread was because I wrote about the comments from Denzel Ward and Jerry Jeudy. So I knew it was 11.5 when I sat down to do my thing. But still, 30-14 is my number. I feel like the Ravens, and I don't know how much of a kick they get because it's 30 years in Baltimore. That may be offset by the Browns saying, why are you doing this for us? The team that represents the city that you left. But I just think the Ravens need to reestablish themselves. They need to take out some of that frustration. They failed to do it last year. I'd like to think there's enough institutional knowledge and recollection. If we remember it on the outside, the Ravens surely remember it on the inside. And John Harbaugh and his staff ideally will guard against the same kind of letdown they had after they had an opportunity. I think the difference is last year they had the chance to steal a game, and it came up that short.
Right.
This time, they were clearly the better team, and they fumbled the ball, literally and figuratively, and lost to the Bills. This is a reestablisher. Let's go out and leave no doubt. Let's go out and kick their ass. And I'm not predicting that they will. I don't want to get into a whole 49ers-Ravens redux if the Browns win. I'm just saying I believe the Ravens are going to be prepared to rectify week 1 and send the kind of message to themselves and to everyone else that they are a force to be reckoned with. 30-14. That's my pick.
I like it. Let's go. Next one.
All right, we move on. Jaguars at the Bengals. Kind of juicy. Big Cat Bowl. What was the name of that place in Tampa Bay? Carol Baskin, Big Cat Country?
Big Cat Rescue.
Big Cat Safari.
Big Cat Rescue.
Big Cat Rescue. It was Big Cat something.
I mean, I used to take underprivileged kids there and hang out with those cats and do all of that. I mean, I was a regular at that place, right? I met Carol Baskins, I think the first time I was there, real quick. Never met her again. But that's a little tidbit into Chris Sims' life right there.
She knew to stay away from you.
Yeah, I guess so.
This guy's even more dangerous than Joe Exotic. Was that the name of that guy?
I think so.
The name of him?
I don't know, but I mean,
Right.
by all due accounts, what she did to her husband and who she might have fed him to, I don't know if she was scared of much.
There we go. All right. Well, one of the big cats is going to win when Jacksonville and Cincinnati get together. Cincinnati barely escaped Cleveland with a victory. The Bengals are favored by 3.5 with an over-under of 48.5. It's their home opener. Who do you like in this one?
I think this is a very interesting game, like you said. I really do. The Battle of the Cats, like you said, and, when it's Jackson Daville, I go with him because he likes to shit on you, and I like that. So I'm going Jaguar. I'm going Jaguars here. I'm going Jaguars. I am.
Wow.
I'm a little bit of a believer in the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars' talent on their football team is better than everybody gives it credit for. I think they got some corners on the outside that can wreak some havoc on the Cincinnati passing game a little bit. They got enough horses up front, big people, right? It's an underrated D-line. We talk about, best pass rushing duos in football, and somehow we kind of always leave out Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen Hines, right? Or Josh Hines Allen, excuse me. We kind of leave them out. I'm including myself in that. They got some D tackles in the middle that can stop the run. All right, I believe in their coaching on both sides of the ball. And most of all, yes, the way Cincinnati was outplayed last week, period. I mean, if it wasn't Cleveland just, messing it up, they win the football game. Jacksonville won't do that. Trevor Lawrence, I believe, looks really good. I like Liam Cohen on that side of the ball, and I like Anthony Campanile on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going 27-23 Jags. I don't trust that Bengals defense. I do not yet.
This is a prime example of you don't know how bad the team is that you beat week one.
Yeah.
And I say that in reference to the Jaguars because it's possible that the Carolina Panthers, I guess they also fall into the big cat category, are caca this year. We just don't know. And I just think there's too much new with the Jacksonville Jaguars. New coach, new GM, new players. The Bengals, the fact that they held the Browns to 16 points is encouraging. I don't know what's going to happen against the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I got to go one way or the other. I think the Bengals, motivated and determined to win games early in the year because they experience what that means to not get the money in the bank in September. When it's time to go cash the check in January and you have insufficient funds because you were pissing down your leg in the first month of the season, I think they do everything they can to avoid that fate. The offense struggled last week.
Definitely.
They have every reason to come home and light it up with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, and T. Higgins. I think the offense will be much better. Couldn't be a whole lot worse. 24-20 is my final score. Bengals over the Jaguars and thus covering the 3.5-point spread.
Yeah, I listen, I hear you there. I can't buy into Cincinnati. Not when the Browns outgain you by 2.5 times the amount, go 9 for 16 on third downs, miss a field goal, miss an extra point, drop 2 passes that become an interception, right? I just can't buy into it yet.
From the Big Cat Bowl to the Oh, How the Mighty Have Fallen Bowl. Giants-Cowboys used to be the game that all the networks would mud wrestle over.
Right.
Well, we want Giants-Cowboys. No, we want Giants-Cowboys. No,
well,
it's
they've
got to
been
be
on
Monday
Sunday
night.
Night Football 9 million times. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it on our own network.
1 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah. It's where
1
it
o'clock
belongs.
Eastern.
Right.
Giants-Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 4.5. 88% of the spread money is on. Now, how about them Cowboys? So how about it, Chris? Who's got this one?
Well, I like Dallas. I mean, I'm not going to pick the Giants. I mean, what do I pick the Giants? What can I rally around?
You did last week.
Well, I know.
You did last week.
I went into a week one like, hey, maybe they'll be ready, catch Washington slipping. They've had all offseason to maybe come up with a few tricks to attack Washington. Negative Ghost Rider. It looked like they just approached it like a normal week. They did nothing. I mean, they couldn't protect. Russell Wilson got the crap beat out of them. There's not much to look at to. The whole offense is just Malik Neighbors. Every play is Malik Neighbors, Malik Neighbors, Malik Neighbors. Giants, you're allowed to call plays for other guys, and the ball won't go to them always. Sometimes it'll still end up in Malik Neighbors' hand. It's like I don't really get the Giants' approach. And yes, on defense, I think they're still a pain in the butt. But, I mean, we saw the game last week. The Cowboys got some talent. The Cowboys are scary. I mean, the Cowboys O-line, the Eagles D-line was not a factor last week. I think they'll be able to protect Dak Prescott. I think he'll be able to throw the ball down the field. I'm going Cowboys 28-17.
Well, one reason the Eagles' defensive line wasn't a factor, they didn't have Jalen Carter.
Yeah,
he spat on Dak Prescott before the first play from scrimmage. I think that the Eagles covered that game last week if they have Jalen Carter. Though the real victims of the Jalen Carter spitting was everybody who took the Eagles given the 8.5 points. In this one, I do like the Cowboys. I do think they showed us something last Thursday night. They showed us they're going to be better. Brian Schottenheimer looked the part. The Giants just still seem to be in disarray. It was 21-6, and it felt worse than 21-6 as the final outcome in the Commanders-Giants game. And this whole Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart thing, I just think the dysfunction that flows from the top of that organization has infected already the lower levels and all the way down to this basic question of when are we going to go with the guy that we know we're going to go with at some point. We just don't know when to go with him, and it may be week 3 when it's Chiefs at the Giants. For now, though, Giants pick up on the loss. I've got 23-13, Cowboys win and cover the spread. Let's go then next to Ford Field. Oh, boy. Ben Johnson is back just in the second week of his head coaching career. The Lions licking their wounds after losing badly to Green Bay. The Bears having defeat snatched from the jaws of victory when they were coasting to a win over the Vikings. Short week on the road. Lions home opener. Lions favored by 6, over under a 46.5. Chris, who do you got in this one?
I don't know what to think with this one a little bit. I mean, I'm going Lions, all right? I'm going Lions, but I mean, I wouldn't make this a best bet or anything like that. I don't know how. I'm not going to buy into. I got to see it a little bit first. There was something missing from the Lions last week, period. They weren't as dominant in the run game. You saw the pass game wasn't explosive. So maybe a lack of intensity that I'm used to seeing with them. And, of course, the lack of creativity. We've tried to warn people that all the coaches they've lost, it's not just the coordinators, it's a few guys underneath them as well. It's a big deal, especially when those coordinators are really good. I mean, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are really good. I worry about the Lions. The Bears showed, some things that you look at that are tangible to go, ooh, I kind of like that. Ooh, that was impressive through 3 quarters. They blew some situational moments because of their head coach. Caleb Williams definitely missed a few throws here, all right? So I think this game is close. I really do. I'm going to go with the Lions because it's at home, and I just think they're a better roster, but I don't feel great about it. I'm going Lions 24-17, and I'm going late touchdown wins it kind of thing. Lions barely pull off the victory.
See, I thought you were going to thread the needle when you said it's going to be close. You still have the Lions covering the 6-point spread.
Right.
I am. What do you got to do that? I am going to try to thread the needle here. I've got the Lions winning 27-23. I think the Bears will keep it close. They may blow another lead. I mean, last year when the Lions were clearly the better team, the Bears gave them everything they could handle on Thanksgiving, and it got Matt Eberflus fired because they blew it at the end. They're driving to force overtime or win the game, and they just blew it. But I think they'll button up some of the things that went wrong on Monday night, and Ben Johnson will be ready to go back there. He knows them. They know him. I think he gets the edge because I have a feeling he was keeping notes a lot more closely about them than they were keeping notes about him while he was there. All right, next up on the docket, the Patriots at the Dolphins. The Dolphins have beaten the Patriots 7 of 8 times in Miami. The Dolphins are 8-2 against the Patriots this decade. The Dolphins are favored by only 1.5 points with an over-under of 43.5. The Dolphins feel like they're already falling apart. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Miami Dolphins. And if they blow this one, it could be time to call Dr. Kevorkian on the season.
Well, I can't pick the Dolphins. Now, I mean, I don't sit here with my chest out going, oh, the Patriots looked amazing. And I do worry about Christian Gonzalez and his overall health. This is the kind of game that gives their defense a little bit of a versatility element that maybe other teams don't have because they have a guy where they can go, hey, we trust him against Tyreek Hill, on a bunch of snaps to allow us to do all this other stuff over here to stop all the other things that Mike McDaniel does. But I kind of tend to lean to where you're talking about, right? It wasn't great last week. Drake May was good but not great. okay? But all in all, I can't pick the Miami Dolphins after everything that's going on and the way they played last week. I mean, they were arguably the least impressive team in football last week. They showed the least fight and physicality out of anybody in the game. There's no way I'm going with that. So I got the Patriots. I'm going to take it in a close one, 20-17.
Now, I did put the Dolphins at number 29 in the Week 1 power rankings. I dropped them to number 32 after that debacle in Indianapolis, and if they could have been lower, they would have been lower. But with all of that said, this may be the best chance they have to avoid a free fall this year. This may be it because they've had the Patriots number. The problem is Mike Vrabel has had the Dolphins number when he was at Tennessee.
Yes, he has.
But I feel like the desperation factor is going to prevail here. And then you've got the September game, the heat, the way the stadium's constructed and the heat and the sun is on the Patriots in their dark blue jerseys. I got the Dolphins. And for those Dolphins fans out there who think I hate your team, here is one little piece of evidence to counter your presumption about me. I've got the Dolphins winning this one by a field goal, 24-21. They may not win another game the rest of the way, but I got them winning this one. All right, next up, the 49ers are going to New Orleans. It is the 2021 fever dream for Kyle Shanahan. What if he had drafted Michael McCorkle-Jones 3rd overall? Well, it looks like Mac Jones is going to be the quarterback because Brock Purdy, according to Shanahan, is a long shot to play. Mac Jones versus Spencer Rattler. NFL fever. Catch it in the Superdome. 49ers favored by 3. Over-under of only 40.5. Who do you like?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tight football game. I mean, you're going with your backup quarterback who's never really run this offense. You're facing a Brandon Staley who knows the offense because he worked for San Francisco last year. He's going to know some basics about how they attack. Juwan Jennings, we're not sure how he is. There's no Kittle. All right, we're relying on Ricky Pearsall once again. Christian McCaffrey, the run game, right? I mean, you would think New Orleans is going to be geared up on that and trying to stop that. I don't have much faith in New Orleans offense. That's where I really give San Francisco the advantage. The 49ers defense looked damn good last week. They still are talented. And like we've kind of talked about, I think Saleh and Gus Bradley being there, takes them up another notch. I'm going 49ers, barely covering the spread here. Tough win. And I'm worried about the Brock Purdy thing. I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there that think this might be more than just this week. This could be a few weeks that he's gone here. So we'll see where it goes. 20-16, 49ers.
I had 17-14 until I saw the spread just now of 3. So I'll go 17-13, 49ers covering the spread. And I had already thought of that before you did the same thing. I don't care about the spread. My main thing is getting them right straight up. But 17-13 is where I'll go for the 49ers. And yeah, there's a sense that Purdy's going to miss some time. Kittle's on IR. They needed to avoid the injury bug. And right out of the gates, they've got a couple of key injuries on offense. Bills at the Jets. Buffalo favored by 6.5. The Jets scoring 32 points in a loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Over-under of 46.5. This has been a primetime game the past couple of years in New York because the Jets had Aaron Rodgers. This year it's 1 o'clock Eastern. By 4:30 p.m. Eastern or so, who will have emerged with the victory, Chris?
I think this is a scary game for the Bills. Like, do you not think that the New York Jets are going to be able to line it up and run it down the throat of the Buffalo Bills? I do. They didn't get bigger this week. They Hercules or the Incredible Hulk didn't get on the roster. It's going to be an issue for them all year when they play these type of offensive lines. So I think 6.5 is scary as far as that's concerned. And the Jets still creative on the defensive side of the ball. It didn't look good last week. They let up too many big plays. I expect that to tighten up a little bit. But it's still Josh Allen, the Magic Man, and I don't think he'll be able to make as much magic against this defensive front as he did against Baltimore. We talked about Baltimore plays too many defensive tackles on passing situations. The Jets have speed to corral Josh Allen and not let him make the magical plays, right? But I'm going to pick a high-scoring game here, 31-27 Bills.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not sure the Jets can crank out that many points for the second straight week. I think this one stays close for a while, but the Bills pull away in the second half. 34-21, Buffalo wins. I think Josh Allen is just getting started, and I think what they did last week gives everyone a vitamin B12 shot, and off they go. I feel like Bills are going to really emerge stronger for the experience last week when they weren't the better team, but they still steal the game. All right, Steelers host the Seahawks. DK Metcalf gets a shot at his former team right out of the gates. Home opener for the Steelers. They're favored by 3. The lowest over-under the week at 39.5, which is surprising when you consider that the Steelers scored 34 alone last week. Who do you like in this one?
Well, this Seattle defense is real. They're real. They're tough. I mean, it's a good scheme. Their secondary is stacked. They got maybe not a top-tier pass rusher. That's the only thing they're missing. But they got a lot of good, and they got a lot of big people up front. And one of the bigger D lines in football when they want to be. So that's where I think you look at it and people go, hey, I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored here. They're going to make life interesting. I think the big question is the Pittsburgh defense. Do they bounce back? It was a lackluster performance by them, and it also was a lackluster performance by the Seattle offense. It didn't look good either. I err to think on this one right here that, yeah, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh's defense at home and them getting right a little bit here rather than Sam Darnold in this new offense with Clint Kubiak. And I know they have Jackson Smith and Jigba, but the other receiver that's going to actually produce for them, I got to see that first. I'm not buying into Cooper Kupp as a consistent mainstay of being just a great number 2. Not yet. I got to see it first. So I'm going to take the Steelers 20-13 in this one.
Yeah, the production difference between Jackson Smith and Jigba, who had 124 receiving yards on 150 total passing yards, was jarring. Cooper Kupp, I think, had 15 receiving yards for the game. Here's the red flag, though. Deshaun Elliott, Steelers safety, didn't practice on Wednesday with a knee injury. Joey Porter Jr., hamstring, didn't practice on Wednesday. Right. Got to watch that injury report because there could be more openings for the Seattle offense. This is pasta and meatballs 100 miles up the road. Pittsburgh Steelers don't lose this game to the Seattle Seahawks. They just don't. 24-13. Aaron Rodgers' first game ever in Pittsburgh as a Steeler. He's not going to maybe be as brilliant as he was when he was getting revenge against the Jets, but this is one that I don't think the Steelers lose. Those first 3 games were winnable for the Steelers. They needed to win them all because the schedule gets a lot more difficult after that. So 24-13 Pittsburgh for me. Last one in the 1 o'clock window, Super Bowl 34 rematch. The Los Angeles Rams, who at the time were in St. Louis, taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Rams, road favorites, 5.5 points, over under 41.5. Chris, who do you like?
Well, I think this is going to be a defensive struggle. You're seeing these over-unders, right? They're low because it's early in the season. The defenses are functioning at a higher level than the offense. And we got some good defenses that are kind of facing off against each other here early in the year. And the Tennessee Titan defense, as you heard me say last week, I think the whole world forgot that they were the number 2 defense in the NFL last year. The offense is the issue. That's it. Can Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, can they make enough plays against a really fast, awesome defense with the Los Angeles Rams? Of course I'm going Rams here. I am. I'm going to go Rams, right? Just Matthew Stafford and company, as though I think it'll look sluggish at times, right? I think ultimately they'll just get it together here to be able to pull out a victory. I'm going to go 20-13 once again here and take the Rams.
You've got the Rams covering. Yep. I don't. I've got the Rams 17-13. I didn't mention this before. You've got a couple of West Coast teams playing 10 o'clock body clock games right to start the season. That's a factor. We don't see a lot of 1 o'clock Rams games. We don't see a lot of 1 o'clock Seahawks games. They're going to have to do that right now when their bodies are completely adjusted to, you wake up and you don't play a football game when you roll out of bed.
We had a really bingo bango there, right? I had 17-13 written down. I could show you it on my thing. As I sat here and was talking about it, I was a little bit like, I don't know. I still think the Rams will cover, and I gave them the extra field goal. Right, so this will be interesting to see what happens here with this one.
Well, we had a bingo, bango, bongo last week, and sometimes you're the drummer, and sometimes you're the drum. We were the bongos last week because the Raiders stuck it up our butts sideways by winning when we both picked the Patriots to win 23-17. Let's take a break. Sunday late afternoon games, including a rematch of Super Bowl 59. That's next with the Chris Sims Unbuttoned and PFTPM joint Mega Picks podcast. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, plus $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV. Just download the Sportsbook app and use the promo code PFTLive when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. As always, please bet responsibly, only with money that you are fully prepared to lose, because if you listen to people like me, you shall. All right, late afternoon games. Panthers at the Cardinals. Cardinals 1-0. Holding off the Saints in week one. They're opening at home, 6.5-point favorites, 43.5 over under. This one's tough for me because I really don't know how good the Cardinals are, because I don't know how bad the Saints are, and I don't know how bad the Panthers are because I don't know how good the Jaguars are. Who do you got?
I hear you. Well, I'm still gonna go with the Arizona Cardinals in this one. They certainly gave me more positive things to think about and look at. Defense played really well through the majority of the day, right? I think that's one thing you got to look at there. You know, offensively, it wasn't perfect, but I think that Saints defense is a little bit of a pain in the ass. And the one thing I like about Arizona is they're physical and they can run the football. James Conner, right? Trey Benson. And I think the passing game will continue to come on. The problem here is that Carolina can really run the ball too. And that's going to be something that's going to be tough for Arizona to stop. But within that, yeah, they run the ball well. I like Teteria McMillan, like we talked about last week. I think he's going to be a force, and he'll have something to say about this game. I don't trust Bryce Young. But this is a desperation type of game for the Panthers. Here we are, like, hey, second year of Dave Canales. We lost and didn't look good in week one. What's it going to be week two? I still think they're going to lose, but they're going to put their best foot forward here. I'm going Cardinals 21-17. That's 6.5 is too much for me.
You know, there's so many themes that apply to the games this week. We had the Big Cat Bowl. We've got the how the mighty have fallen bowl between the Giants and Cowboys. We've got a Super Bowl rematch coming up. This is the
Cardinals.
You must be this tall.
Sorry.
You must be this tall to ride this ride bowl. That's what this is. Pete, you messed up my line by talking to Chris. You must be this tall to ride this ride bowl between Bryce Young and Kyler Murray. Please laugh.
I like it.
Please clap.
Okay. I like it.
I like the Cardinals in this one. I just feel like the Panthers, because there was this, the Panthers are going to be better. They were in a lot of close games. They weren't complete shit in the last 2 months of the season. That doesn't mean that they're going to transform into a playoff team.
No, I know.
Just because they didn't get embarrassed while they lost games down the stretch doesn't mean that they've found some magic elixir to be competitive. Can I second that too? Can I just add, because that's the thing you get too. Like when Bryce Young hits a pass now, people go, look, he's good. He hit a pass. And it's like, that's where we've lowered the standard for the number one pick. Yeah. That's like how it was with Blake Bortles for a while. When people are like, look, he threw a 5-yard completion. You're wrong, Chris Sims, right? That's where we've gotten a little with them. I agree with you. I'm glad you brought that up. I got the Cardinals 21-13 in that one. All right, next up, Broncos at the Colts. Once upon a time, this was the Peyton Manning Bowl, right? His two teams getting together. The Broncos favored by only 1.5. And I heard Chris make a sound like he's George the horse with the. So he's struggling with this one because the Colts look pretty damn good in week one. And the Broncos didn't look like what we thought they were going to look like this year. And they're on the road in the Dome. Who do you got?
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is one I've gone back and forth with. This is one I'm not going to bet on. I see the over-under is at a 42.5, and I go, people expect a defensive showdown. There's a little bit of a gut feeling here that I think there'll be a few more points scored, right? Just because Denver, of course, didn't look great on the offensive side of the ball last week. I think Indianapolis is good on the defensive side of the ball and definitely improved Lou Anarumo over there. But I don't know if it's like we saw last week. I think that was a week one. We've studied a lot, and we know how to shut down the dink and dunk Tua. And like, we heard Xavier Howard say, if the first guy's not wide open, it's kind of panic mode in that. That's not going to be the same thing here with this team. First off, I think the Broncos, they got more ways to beat you. I think they will be a motivated offense. I think Bo Nix is still good. I think he was just a little too aggressive last week. And then as awesome as that Broncos defense is, Shane Steichen, I find it hard to believe he won't have some ways to move the ball and call some plays. This Colts offense is good. I'm going with a higher scoring thing here. But again, I'm not betting on this one. 27-24 Broncos in a tight one.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh, well, hey, my hand is off the checker. I took it off last night when I put the scores in. I went back and forth on this. But I feel like
It's a tough one.
It's easy to say the Dolphins are just a shit show.
Yeah.
And the Colts are never going to have another game like the one that we saw on Sunday. And I'm not suggesting they're going to win this one easily. I think the Colts can win this one. And I think they will win this one. 23-20, the Indianapolis Colts and Daniel Jones. As long as he avoids the big hits. I talked to him about that after the game because he got blown up, by Matthew Judon early in the game. And he knows he's got to avoid. He thought he had more space. You got to be careful because if you lose Daniel Jones, then you're back to Anthony Richardson. And then if you lose him, I don't know who you're down to.
Right.
Okay, Eagles at the Chiefs. Super Bowl 59 rematch. And even though the Eagles thoroughly dominated the Chiefs in New Orleans, they're only favored by 1.5 points in Kansas City with an over-under of 46.5. That is the game of the day. Who do you have?
Well, here we are with the Kansas City Chiefs. No Xavier Worthy, no Rashee Rice. Hollywood Brown's good, but again, he's the defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, and the Eagles aren't like, oh my gosh, we have to double him, and we're scared to death. Travis Kelce's not the same guy that we once knew. Still good, but it's not superstar. Change your game plan for him anymore. I'm worried that the Kansas City Chiefs, you watch the game, all the big plays on the offense, it wasn't really the offense. It's Mahomes making magic. And you're not going to make magic against Philadelphia. That's just not going to happen. And then the other side of the ball is, Philly's offense didn't look great last week. Philly's simple. They're so good. They run like 8 plays. That's all they do. I mean, there's nothing so that doesn't always lend itself to this great, outpouring of big plays and sexiness. But the way the Chiefs play and the fact that the Chiefs have defensive line problems, that they're going to have to worry about this run game and being overpowered, it lends itself to making Philadelphia look like they're sexy and awesome on offense because they end up playing blitz zero and man-to-man and have to blitz and crowd the line of scrimmage. I don't even think I'm going Eagles here. I don't have any doubt in this game. No doubt. 31-21, Eagles.
Wow, 10-point win by the Eagles in Kansas City. I'm taking it a little more tightly than that. Again, I had no idea. What the spread was. 27-24, Eagles win. Jalen Carter is going to play, and Jalen Carter is going to be on a mission.
Exactly. That's right. Thank you.
What happened last week.
Right.
He's going to be out to create complete and total havoc. And also, A.J. Brown is going to be, because they can't do another 1 catch 8 yards with A.J. Brown because
ridiculous.
It tick closer to the boom if you don't get A.J. Brown involved. They'll have him involved, and it could get out of hand. It could get out of hand like the Super Bowl did. I think the Chiefs will do everything in their power to keep it from getting out of hand. Then again, they probably did that in the Super Bowl and it didn't work. But I'll give it a tight margin, 3 points, but the Eagles win, and we move on now to the primetime games. 3 of them between Sunday and Monday night. But on Sunday night, J.J. McCarthy makes his home debut as the Falcons come to town for NBC and Peacock. We'll talk about that one next on Chris Sims Unbuttoned and PFTPM.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV. Just download the Sportsbook app and use promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Who's the character in SpongeBob that has the deep voice? Who is that? That's who you sounded like.
That's who
Pete?
No, it's not.
Is it Plankton? Not Patrick. Plankton. Maybe
might
it's
be
Plankton.
Plankton.
I don't know.
Yeah. Did he just say Patrick, who has the squeakiest high voice ever? And geez, his kids are still watching it. He doesn't even know. Damn.
SpongeBob was and still is a great show. Patrick was great. Patrick is that element that every show has to have, that lovable dumbass.
Yes.
Fortunately, we don't have that here. Okay, Sunday Night Football. Falcons at the Vikings. 3.5-point favorites. Minnesota in the J.J. McCarthy debut at U.S. Bank Stadium. 44.5-point over/under. Chris, you know where I'm going. Where are you going?
Well, I tend to feel like I'm going Vikings here as well. right? I think this is going to be a close one. I really do. First off, I feel like it's a little bit desperation-ish for the Atlanta Falcons and what they do there, right? But I just go, man, on the road, Michael Penix still early in his career. We know that Minnesota defense is good. And what I love about Minnesota's defense, too, is like you saw the other night. I mean, it was like the first 2 quarters, Ben Johnson was feeling good, and Brian Flores was all stressed out, like, oh, man, he's doing some different things to me. I wasn't expecting this. And then by the third quarter, it was like Ben Johnson was stressed out, and Brian Flores was walking around like, they got no answers for what I'm doing now. But he always finds the right adjustments and how to play and what to do. So that's where I just believe in Minnesota that way more. And I believe in the Minnesota offense more and having more avenues to beat you. I think J.J. McCarthy will be a different guy in this game. They didn't do him any favors by letting him settle in the last one. They played a little too conservative to where it was like, hey, get the guy an easy layup. Let's make him feel good. I don't think they did him favors that way, but I think this will be a tight, close football game. I'm going to thread the needle on this one. Vikings 19-17.
Wow. Oh, man. 3.5-point spread. That is a tight needle. I thought about 30-27 because that was the final score of the NFC Championship from the 1998 season, 30-27 in overtime. I instead go 30-21, and I had a feeling the spread was in the range of a field goal. 30-21, the Vikings cover. The one concern I have, and Paul Allen pointed this out on today's PFT Live, the injury report for the Vikings is troubling. Blake Cashman, hamstring, did not practice. Ty Chandler, the guy who wisely brought out that kick late in the fourth quarter at the urging of Kevin O'Connell, did not practice with a knee. Christian Darrisaw, at least he's on his way back. Ryan Kelly, starting center, did not practice with a toe.
Yeah.
Jeff Okudah did not practice. Josh Oliver did not practice. Andrew Van Ginkel, the pick-6 machine who almost had one the other night, concussion protocol, did not practice. That's all troubling, but I still think between McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, TJ Hawkinson, I think they get it done 30-21. All right, Monday Night Football.
One thing real quick about your team. One thing about your team, just because I'm so impressed with how McCarthy handled the ugly part of the game, right? He never lost confidence, even though it looked like he was a deer in the headlights there. And Kevin O'Connell never panicking and never showing panic to his quarterback, so his quarterback then therefore could stay calm and get better. It's a big part. I played with coaches where it's like panic's all over their face, and then the whole team panics. O'Connell never shows that. I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, Gruden would have had a stroke.
Oh, Gruden would have had a whole stroke. The whole team would have been like, "What's wrong? Are we that bad? Are we doing that horrible?" It's like, are we down 29-0? No, it's 3-0 with 15 minutes left in the second quarter, right? But yeah, that's what he would do, no doubt. Mac Brown was a little that way too.
All right, we got to get to the next one.
I got to get to the next game. It's
Texans,
a podcast, and we got to fit into a TV show. Hurry up.
With an over-under of 42.5. Who do you got Monday night?
Up. Here we go. I mean, this is going to be a good one. Texans, of course, on the edge here. Damn, I closed my window here from right there. There we go. I think I still look at the Bucs offense as kind of being a work in progress with a new offensive coach. They certainly weren't dominant last week. I think the world of this Texans defense. We saw how hard it was with the Rams last week. And I like the Bucs defense, but I'm still not sold on them overall, especially in the back end there. That's what I think I worry about. You saw Michael Penix start to move the ball in the pass game and move it consistently. I'm going to go Texans in a close one, 20-17.
Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud called out his team after the game. We talked about that on Monday. They were lollygagging. They weren't ready. I wonder which way it breaks after Stroud says what he says.
Yeah.
They're at home. It's prime time. And, hey, they're favored. Baker Mayfield back in Texas. That was the thing that did it for me. I was getting ready to type in Texans win, and I thought Baker Mayfield back in Texas, his home state. That, to me, is going to be the difference. 24-23 Buccaneers win. All right, Chargers at the Raiders to wrap up Monday Night Football. Starting at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Chargers favored by 3 after that big win in Brazil. Raiders home opener after beating the Patriots, 46.5 over under. Who do you got?
Well, the Chargers looked phenomenal. I mean, that's the first thing you got to talk about. I mean, the game was probably closer than it should be. last week against the Chiefs in Brazil, right? But the Raiders looked really damn good too. First off, Geno Smith looked as confident and as sure as himself as I could ever remember letting go with the ball. I still don't know if they have enough weapons here. I have a hard time thinking that the Chargers are going to let both Bowers and Jacoby Myers go off. They're going to stop one of those for sure. And I would bet it's probably Jacoby Myers because Bowers, the way they move him around, it's too hard to stop him. I think a lot of this Raiders defense and how they're coached, right? But I think a lot of the Chargers on both sides of the ball, they showed me something last week. I felt like they had a little something in the Hall of Fame game and a little belief that, hey, here we go. I think they're going to continue it. I'm going to go Chargers 27-20. Bingo, bongo, bango.
Bongo. I got the proof of it right here. Chargers. Zoom in there. 27-20. The very last line. 27-20. There it is. I'm impressed by the Raiders, but I'm way more impressed by the Chargers.
Right.
That Jim Harbaugh vibe has fully seeped into Justin Herbert. He's transformed Justin Herbert into a badass. And that was all that was missing. All the things he said, all the things he's done. He's pressed the buttons, he's pulled the levers, and he's turned Justin Herbert into the machine that Harbaugh wants him to be. 27-20, Chargers win. Let's take a break. 3 best bets and Folsom Prison Blues pick next on Chris Sims Unbuttoned and PFTPM. Wrapping up the Week 2 Joint Mega Picks podcast, Chris Sims Unbuttoned PFTPM. Best bets time. I was 0 for 3 last week. You were 1 for 2. Will we do any better this week? Who you got?
Yes, I'm going to do better on everything this week. I'm focused. I'm ready to go. I'm in game shape, all right? I want me some glory hole.
You're like Mike McDaniel. You're like Mike McDaniel. Can't get worse.
Yeah, I want me some glory hole, and I'm going with the glory hole masters and Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Yep, 4.5. They're going to whoop the Giants. Sorry.
Give me the Steelers, giving 3 to the Seahawks. Who else you got?
I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I know they're 3.5-point dogs against the Bengals. I think they're going to win the football game, let alone if they lose, it won't be by more than 3.5.
Give me the Bengals.
Ooh,
so one of us is going to be right about that game.
I like
All right,
it.
one more.
I like it when Mikey does that. I'm going with, how about them Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Yeah, Eagles, they cover the spread big time. 31-21, they win.
And I will finish because last week my best bets were Steelers, Bengals, Ravens. What the Steelers, Bengals, Ravens.
All right, well, what are you going to do?
What are
you going to do with your Folsom County Prison Blues?
I'm going to go Steelers. I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers losing at home in his home opener with the Steelers against a Seahawks team that just doesn't seem to be good enough.
All right, I'm going to go the Ravens. Ravens over the Browns.
Steelers again.
Ravens over the Browns.
My second favorite team for the second straight week. I should have picked the Vikings.
See ya. I hope you do horrible.
That's it. Enjoy the game.
But it was fun doing it
I
with
hope you do worse than last week.
Is that possible? See ya. Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.